And we're live! And welcome to another edition of Botha Rants. My name is Sophia Botha. This is the show, YouTube show, where we go through all the latest LGBTQ news of interest. And I hope everybody had a good public holiday weekend, bank holiday weekend, whatever you call it. And I hope everybody marked International Workers' Day on Saturday and paid respect to NHS workers far more than Lawrence Fox has. We'll get to that. And
that shouldn't be much trouble.
Yeah. I hadn't even introduced you, you rude.
Well,
rude
yeah,
person.
but I stormed my way into your place.
How dare you butt into my conversation with myself, huh? Yes.
Hey, you have an audience too. Don't downplay your audience.
Anyways, yes, we're once again joined by Ozma.
Hello.
Who's usually with us on Mondays. But as I was busy watching the snooker, there was no show on Monday. And sometimes she joins us on Fridays when she's not playing D&D.
Mm-hmm.
That's Dungeons and Dragons for the uninitiated.
Yeah.
Now, I've got one parish notice, and it's not. Unfortunately, it's one which looks like I've got egg on my face. So, today I was meant to start simulcasting this show on YouTube and on the Liberty Radio Network. However, the Liberty Radio Network broadcast is being delayed. In other words, I'm not going to be on air on that network for a while yet. Let's just say things are up in the air in that regards. Obviously, some people will know that it was Aria Demeslo who is one of the programming managers of that network, and she's having a few legal issues at the moment. So, it's understandable. The way I always saw it, that I always saw getting on the Liberty Radio Network as a bonus, not a necessity. The necessity is this YouTube show. The good thing is that doesn't mean I have to keep to an actual time for this show now. So we can freestyle and go more in depth if we want to, or even make the show shorter if we want to. So there is that flexibility.
So what I'm hearing is you want me to speak of multitudes of details about Calgary.
We'll do that on Monday, all right? Because I wasn't actually expecting you on this show until late last night.
Fair enough. We can delay that, and
because
I only have the notes I had made earlier, so I can pick stuff out and frame it in such a way that it's a bit more cohesive.
Yes,
whatnot.
And coherent.
Cohesive, coherent, and short.
Yes. Anyways, we have a very packed show because we haven't been on air I haven't been on air for 5 days, and there's been quite a bit of news. Sadly, we start off on a sad note.
Oh yes, I also want to mention I can't see that you haven't.
I always forget to fucking do this. Hold on.
I mean, not always, but yeah. Look, a lot of this was unprepared.
Right, so, I was prepared. I just forgot to share screens with you.
Well, I mean, you weren't prepared for, I asked, yesterday if I could come on the show.
Yeah, all right.
Super late at night for you,
yes. So, AIDS activist and creator of the Red Ribbon. You know the Red Ribbon people wear on World AIDS Day to raise awareness of HIV and AIDS? the guy who came up with that, he's died at the age of 67.
Oh.
Yeah, it's sad to hear. Oh, and Nick Cayman died yesterday as well. He's the guy who was in the famous Levi's adverts in the 80s. The one in the laundrette with the Marvin Gaye, heard it through the grapevine. Anyways, and he was only 59 as well.
Oh.
Well, I'm now 47, that's sort of in my age group range, Anyways, Patrick O'Connell, a venerable AIDS activist who sought to smash stigma with awareness campaigns such as the iconic Red Ribbon, has died. O'Connell passed away aged 67 of AIDS-related causes. His brother, Barry, confirmed to the New York Times, living with HIV for 40 years. He spent much of his life fronting campaigns to better educate the public about what it means to live with HIV and AIDS. The son of a wire latherer, so I've never heard that term, wire latherer and secretary, O'Connell was born on 12th of April 1953, so he's only just had his 67th birthday. Hold on.
It's
He's died at the age of... They've got the age wrong. That's 68, I think they were meant to mean.
Well,
if he was born in 54.
Not if he hadn't had his birthday yet.
Yeah, it's 12th of April. That was last month.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. For much of the night, this is how what people don't understand about the AIDS epidemic now. It says, for much of the 1980s, O'Connell's life was filled with rented black funeral suits and friends fearful of what was then a dooming diagnosis. By the end of the decade, AIDS had become the leading cause of death for men aged between 25 and 44. Yeah. Now, I've always said if Freddie Mercury had got AIDS had become HIV positive 5 years later, he'd still be alive because of combination therapies.
Yep.
People forget. AIDS was HIV positive was a death sentence in the 80s. That was it.
Yeah.
How far we have come. In 1991, O'Connell formed Visual AIDS, a collective of artists and advocates who used a borrowed art gallery space to design exhibitions that forced the public to reckon that the disease. We had no choice. He told. He said in 2003 interview with the BBC, we had to do something with our professional lives. The East Village art scene felt like it was disappearing overnight because of AIDS. All our colleagues around the country were dying. No wonder the White House was at the time almost indifferent to the virus rampage across the US and treated it more as a punchline than a public health emergency. That's when O'Connell had an idea, a small way to encourage the world to reckon with the disease that was destroying so much of the LGBT plus community, a red ribbon. That same year, he launched the Red Ribbon Project, and with it, an unwavering and defiant symbol of AIDS activism. To O'Connell, the colour red was rousing as it was morose. It symbolised, he told the BBC, blood, a colour of passion, and it was vibrant and attention-getting. The yellow ribbons from the Gulf War were all around. Oh yeah, I remember. He told the New York Times in 1992, we noticed that they would mean they could mean anything, that I care about young people who gone overseas to support Bush. I support Bush. Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting already.
Yeah.
The first time I ever saw the red ribbon thing, because a lot of people, but even in the 90s, people thought that AIDS was gay was the gay cancer. But the first time I ever
Uh-huh.
saw sort of the people wearing red ribbons was to do with Arthur Ashe, the tennis player who died of AIDS, and he contracted AIDS because not long after he retired from playing professional tennis, he had to have open heart surgery, and he contracted it with a blood transfusion.
Yeah.
And he died of AIDS. Sorry. Um, you know, it's really sad because Arthur Ashe broke down a lot of racial barriers with being as good a tennis player as he was. He was the first black man to win Wimbledon, several other Grand Slams. And to end up dying of AIDS, it is sad. And all the stigma which was attached at the time. He was not gay; he was
Yeah.
heterosexual, just to prove that AIDS was not the gay cancer that some
Well,
people to this day still think it is.
AIDS doesn't really care about your sexuality.
No.
Also, as a side note, I just um, my first memory of a show actually talking about AIDS was EastEnders. Honestly,
Yeah, yeah, yes, that yeah, Mark.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I remember. I mean, I've not watched EastEnders in years, but yeah, I remember that from.
Well, I haven't either.
Well, how come you used to watch EastEnders? Where was it? Where was it on television in the
It
States?
was on
PBS, I guess.
PBS. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was on PBS. Like there was the occasional BBC show was on PBS,
yeah,
and
yeah. Because that's
my
that's
parents really liked watching that stuff,
yeah. I mean,
including the superhero show that was making fun of Superman type stuff.
what Banana Man?
Maybe I don't remember.
No, Banana Man was a cartoon. It's very funny though.
No, it wasn't a cartoon. It was live action.
Oh, I don't remember. But anyways,
Yeah.
um, anyways, I was going to say, yeah, a lot of people are very snooty. I mean, look, I don't watch EastEnders. It's not my kind of soap operas aren't really my kind of thing, right? But I know, for instance, EastEnders has dealt with some very tricky subjects. As a matter of course, not always well. They were very clumsy in
Uh-huh.
how they dealt with mental illness, namely schizophrenia. Um, uh, there were a lot of complaints about that, and rightfully so, from what I saw. So, anyways,
Well, lovely with regards to the lack of danger with pot, especially when that old woman accidentally takes pot as in her tea or something. I can't remember. God damn it! It's been
hey,
a long time. I remember like
I once
weird
went.
stuff.
You ever hear those stories about people who put LSD in the punch at the party, and some people think they're having a nervous breakdown? I actually went to a party where someone actually did that.
Mm.
Didn't bother me because I'd already taken LSD in the past. But anyways, another sad bit of news: Brighton Pride has been cancelled for a second year in a row. It's
Aw.
understandable. It's understandable. This is because even though we are due to be out of lockdown by June the 21st, it's still not clear as to whether there'll be social distancing and for how long, and whether we'll still have to wear masks and whatever other restrictions there are about gatherings. Now, um, one now there's a separate. This is where it gets confusing. There is a separate trans pride Brighton, okay, to the big. I mean, Brighton Pride is one of the big prides in this country, along with London and Manchester, right? But there's a separate trans pride Brighton, which is obviously exclusive for trans peeps, and as it says, putting the T first. And they last year, instead of having an actual event in a parade and an event in a park, they actually did an online event, which actually I really enjoyed. I do say positive things. And they're going to be doing another online event this year on the 17th. So I would suggest people, it's be on Facebook Live. They are, to hold an in-person event online. Sorry. Trans Pride Brighton will not be hold an in-person event on the 17th of July. They actually took this decision a couple of months ago, actually now. But they will be doing an online event on Facebook Live like they did last year. So I suggest people check it out. And also there is an advantage with doing an online event. It can get, because with the whole Brighton, obviously Trans Pride Brighton, it's pretty much UK focused. If you have an event in Brighton, right? Thinking about, and I do know people who travel down from like Scotland for it, right? But you're not going to get people coming from like, I don't know, fucking Australia or, Alaska. But with an online event, you can get to people in Alaska and Australia and various other far-flung places and inspire them to do their own events. So there is an advantage of doing an online event. Anyways, tomorrow there is the biggest set of elections in this country outside the general election. So to go through it, there are Scottish parliamentary elections, elections to the Welsh Synod. There is the London mayoral elections, the Manchester mayoral elections. Also, there's various council elections up and down the country, and the Hartlepool by-election. Now, I know some people say, what's this got to do with LGBTQ stuff? Well, it actually has quite a bit to do with.
Well, I mean, my question is, what really do all those elections mean? Because I don't live in Britain, so I'm not super aware of all the electoral stuff.
Right. So, if you my message is essentially vote Green. Vote Green because they have been the most vocal pro-LGBTQ party, of late.
Also, that's a nice poster.
Yeah, they're pro universal basic income. They're pro Green New Deal. They're pro social justice. Far more vocal in that area than Labour have been since Jeremy Corbyn stood down, and a certain and I now call him Keith Stalin, became.
I'm pretty sure Stalin was more vocal about opinions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Stalman's just a fucking nightmare.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He's not up to the job. So
Stalin was a nightmare at the time, I'm sure, although for different reasons.
Well, okay, Keir Starmer hasn't had anyone killed, but he's having he's having these purges in the Labour Party trying to kick out every socialist, because apparently Labour, despite being tagged as a democratic socialist party, no longer does socialism. Anyways, so yes, I would advise every LGBTQ person tomorrow to vote Green if you can. Unfortunately, there's no Green candidate standing in the ward for my local council. It's a choice between the Tory candidate. Fuck off, I'm never voting Tory. Put a gun to my head and you can pull the trigger. I will not vote Tory. It's a Liberal Democrat. Well, the Liberal Democrats say they're pro-LGBTQ, but the Liberal Democrats are also the party that say one thing and do another. And also, even at a parliamentary level, they've got a Tim Farron problem. You know, he's the evangelical Christian who has some very illiberal views on LGBTQ people, despite being a liberal Democrat. To explain the liberal Democrats to people in America, they're kind of they're socially liberal, right? But they're pro neoliberal economics, right?
Gotcha. So they're like the Democrats.
Yeah, basically. They did actually. I remember someone I know went to a liberal Democrat. I knew a liberal Democrat a few years ago, a guy called Ed Joyce, and he went to a party conference and they had Howard Dean speaking at it. You know, of course he ran for president a few years ago. Anyways, so now in London, Sean Berry, the Green Party co-leader of the Green Party, is running for mayor. I would ask people to go out and vote for her. Will you? Sorry, I'm just going to shut up my computer a moment. Stop doing that. So you can check out her manifesto. Come on. Right, here we are. They've even got they've even got a copy in Hebrew. Do you want to read the Hebrew one?
I have not. I do. I remember almost no Hebrew.
All right. Okay, we won't do that.
I could try with transliterations, but like I understand enough to do that. But if there's not transliterations, yeah.
So here's what she has to say here. Huh? What's happened to the sound? Oh, is this one for well, they've got sign language, but I thought they would have. Oh yeah, this is just the one for the
yeah, it's just the sign language one.
Yeah, whoops, that's a brain fart there. She is such a lovely person. I mean, the thing is, every time I say Sean Berry, she's always smiling, right? She's never dour, right? And I just think that's so lovely. Now, there's obviously the Green Party, as I said, have been the most vocal LGBTQ party. And specifically, Sean Berry has gone out of her way to speak up for trans people.
I think
all comes back to crowd.
Be a better thing.
Just
like
at
that time, we were terribly nice about each other, and we can.
Yeah, I'm always nice about you. I've always been a big fan. Just a couple of last things before I ask you about the climate emergency. Something that is important to talk about. You've taken a very courageous and principled stance in support of trans rights, and in support of trans rights.
Just correct. Not courageous, just correct.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you're right. You're right. It should be just correct. But there is a very vicious and obsessive that's what I'm trying to say. There's a very vicious and obsessed anti-trans lobby in this country who are quite cult-like in the way they operate. And they hound trans people, and they also hound allies of trans people in an obsessive way. I suppose my question is, why do you think, because in the United States, I ask this comes up quite a lot. In the US, people who are obsessed with trans people in a very bad way tend to be Republicans and the right, whilst actually whether you're a centrist or a leftist, and feminism overall, trans inclusive, but that's not true here. You get transphobia. It's not just something on the right. You have it amongst people who call themselves centrist, amongst people who call themselves left, people in the SNP, people in Labour, and people in the Green Party. What is that all about?
I'm with you on this, basically. Everything I see you say.
Sorry, I should have explained. That's Owen Jones. Owen is a steadfast trans ally. I've met him about two or three times, and he's a really nice guy. And he knows who I am. He knows who I am because I remember the last time I met him, I was coming out of a Corbyn rally, and I just came around the corner of the town hall in Camden. And he went, "Hello, Soph." He literally saw me and he went, "Hello, Soph." So, yeah.
About this is so the correct analysis, I think. And it is really, really tough that there has been, these are organised campaigns. Let's not beat about the bush here. This is not something that's naturally sprung out of any of the groups that they've targeted to try and convert. There is something organised, and it's really insidious. It is, and I try not to sort of be conspiracy theory-ish about this, but it's part of the same thing that's racist. It's part of the same feeling of not supporting equality, of wanting to create division, of wanting to demonize certain people, and it's a bullying mentality. And I think the fact that they've lost the battle for things like equal marriage, and like in America, where it's more of a thing, they've lost the battle over like abortion rights, for example. They've moved on to this new target, which is our trans brothers and sisters, and it's just really, really, really poor. And I think we
oh no, Essence of Thought will accuse Sean Berry of being transphobic because she didn't mention non-binary people. She said trans brothers and trans sisters. I've told you that story, haven't I, about what happened when I posted on. I
remember.
Well, I'm just going to say it again. That I was managing quite a large trans Facebook group at the time, and I posted up a notice saying to all trans brothers and sisters, and suddenly someone underneath this post went, "This is trans erasure," and I was going, "What?" They said, "You forgot to mention non-binary people," and I went, "Yeah, but no one's been, it's not erasure. No one's been herded onto a fucking truck and sent to the gas ovens. I just made a mistake. I forgot. This was it was just a simple fucking mistake. It was late at night and I needed to post something about something and I forgot, But accusing me of fucking trans erasure, And that's that's what I'm just saying. It's people taking things, being really knee-jerk and taking things too far. That's all.
Have to stand up to it in organisation.
And that's the problem with Essence of Thought, Essence of Thought. Oh, by the way, she now blocks me on Twitter like she blocks you.
Well, yeah, but like, to be fair, there's like I feel like their reasoning for blocking me was more legitimate, but that was partially because of
they expected me to be a fucking mind reader. All right.
Well, yeah.
I didn't know.
I get that, and blocking you was BS. I'm just saying, with me, from an outside perspective, it would look bad.
They seem to come over, they're the most persecuted and downtrodden fucking person on the fucking planet. And when I explain I've got actually more problems than they do, I think that's when they blocked me. They didn't like the fact that, oh no, they're not the most victimized and put upon person. Yeah? That's...
Well, yeah, but I mean, obviously it doesn't really help to play the who's had it worse game in general.
Well, no, I wasn't. I was just explaining...
Yeah, no, I'm not saying you were. Sorry.
Okay. We're getting off the subject.
Organizations that are being targeted, where there's people trying to get positions within the Green Party that I don't agree with them on, and I think it's important that we stand up and we say what's right.
Yeah, I should explain the deputy women's officer in the Green Party is a TERF.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but before anyone says, well, why do you support the Green Party then? Can I just explain all the major parties have a TERF issue? The Greens aren't alone. But the difference with the Greens is that they're at least being more vocal. The leadership are being more vocal in support of trans people than, say, Starmer has been with the Labour Party. You definitely... I mean, Boris might say a few nice things, but he just doesn't fucking mean it. With Sean Berry, she means it. I mean, I will say this for the Liberal Democrats: they have actually a contingent of trans members, and they they are fairly vocal. So I'd say the Liberal Democrats, you know,
So they're like the Democrats. They're
well,
like all
not
I'm hearing from you is they're like the Democrats
well,
in America.
not quite, because as I said, the problem with the Liberal Democrats. Let me explain my problem with the Liberal Democrats. Okay, it's basically the parliamentary party has always been relatively socially liberal, other than the odd exception such as Tim Farron. Okay, and also there was that guy. Oh God, what was his name? He tried to get the film Child's Play banned, and there was also some councillors on the Liverpool City Council who tried to get every film which contained cigarette smoking in it rated 18. I mean, sure, there are some oddballs in the Liberal Democrats, I don't deny it, but generally they are socially liberal, pro civil liberties, that sort of stuff, right? But the problem is when it comes down to the grassroots. My political experience around here is you ask them, okay, what do the Liberal Democrats stand for? And they'll go, well, would you like to come and help us leaflet and lick envelopes? You know, they don't know really what the Liberal Democrats stand for, right? And also, I had a really bad homophobic experience with the because in this country, right, you get usually three councillors for every ward, okay? And so one of the councillors for the ward I live in was a Lib Dem called Bridget. And I remember when civil partnerships became legal in this country, about 15 years ago, she said, "Oh, I've got nothing against gay and lesbians, just so long as they don't live next door to me." I just thought, that's very liberal of you. Not. Yeah, it's so. As I said, I've had bad experiences with the Liberal Democrats, and then of course there's the 2010 general election where Nick Clegg, who was the leader of the Liberal Democrats at the time, he posed as a progressive. But what did the Liberal Democrats do after that general election? They jumped into bed with the Tories in government for the kudos of being in government. Yeah, so I will not vote Liberal Democrat if my life depended on it.
Well, I wasn't trying to say that they were
and
good.
as allies, I think it's important that we do make sure that our trans siblings have a voice as well, and that we're trying to protect them from harassment while they have the voice and are the spokespeople for their own cause. But I think in the end, you've got to draw some lines and you've got to take some action, and so yeah, that's where I'm at with this. But it's grim to be the subject of such a campaign and the target of it as an organisation, because it's really hard to make those arguments against what can be quite cleverly hidden bigotry, but it is bigotry.
Lastly, the climate emergency. There are millions of people out there who know it's an existential threat.
So if you want to go see the full interview, there it is. It's a really good interview. Owen's a lovely guy, and Sean Berry's lovely. In London, please go and vote Sean Berry, particularly as it really doesn't matter. I just wanted to have a good showing because Sadiq Khan is so far ahead in the opinion polls. It would be a serious upset if he lost. Okay. And Sadiq Khan winning the mayoral election will probably be the only thing which Keir Starmer can gloat about come Friday. Because Labour are definitely going to lose seats in the Welsh Synod. That's how you pronounce it, Synod. Yeah, that's it. Now, it will likely end up as another Labour Plaid Cymru coalition. For those outside the United States, Plaid Cymru are the Party of Wales. They're the equivalent to the Scottish National Party. In other words, they want independence for Wales. And Plaid Cymru are likely to be the beneficiaries of Labour losing seats. Now, we will come on to Scotland in a little while. But a few other things to do with London. Now, I actually thought that when I heard that the UKIP candidate was called Peter Gammons, it was some sort of satirical joke, because we all know that UKIP are the party of gammon. For those outside the UK, gammon is kind of the UK version of redneck, and they do tend to vote for UKIP because they are a bunch of racists. So, Peter Gammons, Gammons by name,
Wow.
gammon by nature. He's
especially the thing at the bottom, black cabs matter.
The thing also, I was going to say that UKIP aren't going to win. Okay, they're not going to. They're not going to get any votes in this. Okay, Count Binface is probably going to get more fucking votes than them. They are. I mean, of course, UKIP, despite the fact they never won any parliamentary elections. I know some people say, yeah, but they did have UKIP MPs. Yes, defectors from the fucking Tories. They didn't get elected as UKIP MPs. And Nigel Farage, when he stood for Parliament 7 times and lost every single time. Yeah, but despite that, obviously one of the most influential parties of the last 10, 15 years, in that they got a they managed to get a referendum on the EU membership, and got the result they wanted as well with Brexit. For a lot of people who say, "Oh, the Greens, what the fuck did they achieve?" Well, because okay, they've got one Green MP, Caroline Lucas, and that's it. And obviously they've got a few members of the Scottish Parliament and a few members on the London Assembly. But it's not always winning elections sometimes. Which gets you gets you greater influence. I would say that one reason I want Sean Berry to do well, and I want the Green Party to do well generally, if they can get the percentage of the vote up, is that would say to Labour, hey, you need to change course. Because funny enough, the impact UKIP were having in being able to split the vote on the right changed Tory policy. So I want the Green Party to do the same with Labour. So anyways,
that would imply that Labour listens to anyone nowadays.
Yeah. So of course one other candidate is Lawrence Fox, who's a complete and utter twat. So he's been bad-mouthing the NHS, which is about as close to blasphemy and heresy as you can get in this country. At this point,
well, it's certainly anti-biblical notions. So.
Yeah. At this point, well, yeah, because people do say the NHS is now the UK's official religion. No,
that's not what I was trying to say. I was trying to say in the Bible,
I hear that.
There's all this stuff about caring for people.
At this point, I'm just grateful for the options of private medical insurance. I wouldn't want to be treated by a political institution. He's having a dig at the NHS, an institution so sensitive it needs a round of applause to finish work. Fuck you. That completely missing the point for Clap for Carers, which was to show appreciation for the fact that NHS staff were putting their lives in danger to treat people for COVID. COVID, which is something Lawrence Fox seems to think is a fucking hoax.
Well, he would.
Yeah. And then he went on to say this. So someone, made the quip that he's only polling at 1%. And by the way, he has spent millions on his fucking London mayoral election campaign, and he's only managed to get 1%. I mean, Count Binface is polling higher than fucking him. I put, basically they say Loz are literally the 1%. This is obviously a quip at the, you remember the 99% thing of Occupy movement. Yeah. I mean, he's a white, wealthy, privileged twat. So his response to this: "I pay your salary, chum. You lot should learn how to say thank you." Fucking cunt.
Yeah.
Well, guess what, Lawrence? My taxes also pay for their salary. Millions of people's taxes pay for the salaries of NHS workers. And guess what? We are very thankful and grateful for the work they've done in putting their lives at risk, to get us through, a horrendous fucking pandemic. You're the one who should be fucking grateful, mate, okay? Because without the NHS, this country would, far more people would have died, okay? But hey, as I say, you're a white, wealthy, privileged twat who basically breathes rarefied air. And you need to be brought down a peg or two. You really do. Yeah. And then there was this thing he did for Breitbart. He is such an eloquent and thoughtful person.
People go, "Oh, you're an anti-vaxxer." I'm like, no, I just don't care whether you've had the vaccine. It doesn't bother me whether you've had the vaccine. It shouldn't bother you whether I've had it. It's none of your fucking business whether I've had it, actually. Fuck off. That's my political position on vaccines. And my political position on masks is, wear a mask if you want to wear a mask. I don't want to wear a mask. Fuck off. What's my next political position? My next political position is, do whatever you want. That's fine by me. Don't tell me what to do. Fuck off. People can go,
"Oh, okay.
Okay, we'll do what we want to do. Okay, we'll piss on the Union Jack. Then you can see, that would probably get, piss off Lawrence Fox.
Well, I mean, obviously people can't just do whatever they want, because sometimes that involves killing others, and generally that's seen as a crime for a reason. And so, yeah.
No. What I'm saying is the hypocrisy is if I said,
he would be busy pissing his pants in rage if he pissed on the Union Jack.
Yeah, and say fuck the Queen or something. Mind you, I've said that. Yeah. He is. He's
well, he wants you to do what he wants as well.
Yeah. He's a fucking. I mean, these far right wankers are all snowflakes. I found this out with Nikki Sinclair. The UKIP former UKIP MEP who came out as trans. Well, actually, I don't like saying that with Nikki because she was trans. Before she got elected. It wasn't like she started her transition. During the time she was an MEP, she transitioned many years ago. And basically, she's just a fucking nightmare. You think Caitlyn Jenner is bad? Yeah. Now you're not going to get this gag. Lawrence Fox, the Waitrose Tommy Robinson. Now, to explain to you, Waitrose is like an upmarket supermarket chain. Everything costs like a third extra. So he's the posh version of Tommy Robinson. But the thing is with Tommy Robinson's real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon. Yaxley Lennon, a double barrel name. That doesn't sound working class to me. That sounds more middle class, far more middle class name. But anyways, I get the gag. I thought it was funny. And a lot of other people have as well. Anyways, here's a complete rundown of the mayoral candidates in London. Siddiq Khan, Labour. Siddiq Khan is the current mayor of London. Is expected to win the second term on the 6th of May. He is currently polling 43%. Well, I saw 45 earlier. Some of his main policies are making commuting more affordable and making London greener. Yeah, he's also talking about bringing rent control. He also wants to create jobs and fight the government's austerity. Yeah. The other thing I'd say about Sadiq Khan, right, is even though he's on the right, he's on the same wing as Keir Starmer of the party. Sadiq Khan is a little bit more, shall we say, vocal about what he stands for, right, than Starmer. He's not as wishy-washy, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's been vocal in support of LGBTQ people, so good for him. Sean Bailey, I mean, I don't even know who this. He's the Conservative Party candidate. Now, in the past, the Conservatives have at least tried to have a candidate people knew. Last time round, of course, it was Zach Goldsmith. Before that, obviously, it was Boris Johnson. Yes, that's right. Boris Johnson used to be the Mayor of London. And so far, he's the only Conservative Mayor of London. But Sean Bailey, I just don't know anything about him. Sean Bailey wants to hire 8,000 more police and reopen 38 police stations.
Wait, are you saying they want a police state?
Well, they are Tories. He aims to scrap plans to extend the ultra-low emission zone charge to... he wants to scrap plans to extend the ultra-low emission zone change to South London. What happened to the Tories talking, about being all green and everything? That doesn't sound like it. But Bailey's election battle bus breached London's rules on toxic air. It has been revealed. Bailey has recently walked away from a homeless person, has been accused of politicising the disappearance of Sarah Everard. Of course, she was the woman who was murdered by a policeman.
Yep.
Of course, there was all that controversy about the vigil there was for her. Sean Berry, we've already covered. Richard Hewson rejoined the EU. I wonder what he wants. Wouldn't be rejoining the EU. Count Binface. There's Count Binface. There's Owen Jones actually interviewed him. Go watch it. I liked it. It was
satirical candidate who's ready to win.
Yeah.
Wants to take out the trash.
Yeah, he's a fun candidate. I do like him. Kim Bailu, Renew Party. I'd never heard of the Renew Party. Wants to extend the EU settlement scheme for another 2 years.
I'm not sure that's a realistic.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, look, rejoin the EU. No, not now. All right, maybe in a generation. I mean, and I hate to say that because I do think Brexit is a mistake. But the thing is, look, people wanted Brexit. They've got Brexit. We have to learn to live with it, okay, and move on. There are other issues we need to be dealing with. Lucia Porritt, Liberal Democrats. She wants to scrap the Silvertown Road Tunnel in East London and focuses on extending the Bakerloo line and creating new cycling routes. Valerie Brown wants to give power to ordinary people through citizens' assemblies. Essentially direct democracy. Who would make decisions on transport, health and education. She is passionate about saving the world from ecological collapse by reducing carbon emissions. Well, look, why doesn't she just join the Green Party? Max Fox fought for the Fox and Frush
Wait. Okay. Well, do you mind if I read so you don't have to get caught with a million tongue twisters?
Yeah, go on.
Foch fought the Fox, and the Foch won earlier this month after the YouTuber challenged his Reclaim rival to a debate outside his party HQ. He told
Hold on, just to explain, the
Uh-huh.
the Reclaim Party candidate is Lawrence Fox.
Oh yeah, that's why Foch fought the Fox.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he told the London Economic that he had been messaging the Lewis actor for a few days over email, social media, and through his team. He added, "Each time I have gotten, I have not got a response. This is all after I had a phone call with him in a recent video in which he agreed to debate me. He said he hasn't heard a peep from Fox or anyone in the Reclaim Party since he posted the challenge on Twitter."
Oh, talking about debates, did you hear that? Marjorie Taylor Greene was challenging AOC to a debate, right? AOC accepted. I think
Okay, just so long as guns aren't allowed.
Marjorie Taylor Greene's going to regret that somehow.
Oh yeah, no, AOC is clearly better at getting to facts and just everything with debate.
Anyway, the Animal Welfare Party, I think we know what they want. Let London live. All right, now, yes, Piers Corbyn. You're probably wondering, yes, he's the brother of a certain Jeremy Corbyn, but he's a bit of a nutcase. Piers Corbyn made a splash after revealing his battle bus in Westminster last month. A battered up car was wheeled out covered in poorly glued posters and megaphones straps to the top. Now, this guy believes in David Icke type conspiracies, okay? Yeah, he believes that like climate change is a hoax and all that, all right? I'm surprised fucking Alex Jones hasn't interviewed him on InfoWars. Nico Omomilia grabbed the headlines after the first major poll in London mayoral election showed he could have been responsible for putting a dent in Sadiq Khan's lead in the race for City Hall. The 23-year-old, who has 3.4 million YouTube subscribers, wears children's...
Okay, can I ask something? What's with all the YouTubers who have run and are running for candidacy in the UK? I mean, this is just London. Like,
let me counter
that. I know Sargon of the Cant
he ran for the
in UKIP.
Yeah, he ran for the European Parliament. But I counter that. What about all the reality TV stars who run for fucking office in America? Donald Trump, Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah, but most of that's in California. Everyone's a celebrity.
Can I just remind you that Donald Trump, the America elected a reality TV star, to the White House, as in Donald Trump.
But we're ashamed of it. Well, some of us are.
Well, some of you are, yeah. Lawrence Fox reclaimed. Well, he's a bigot, and he's a racist.
Well, reclaim bigotry.
Brian Rose, the London Real Party. Brian Rose,
as opposed to the fake London parties.
The anti-lockdown American, best known. Hold on, the London Real Party. You're from fucking America. You're from our side of the pond. Claims he is posed to put off. He's an anti-lockdown nutcase. Okay.
Oh, and the Gammon.
And Peter Gammons of the Gammon Party. Oh, sorry, I meant UKIP. Fuck him. Sadiq Khan's going to win, so I can't see anyone else winning. So there's that. Now on to Scotland. Yeah. So Alex Salmon denies saying SNP captured by Looney Tune trans warriors. Those were not my exact words. No, but you've. Well, I'm quite glad. I'm quite glad if the SNP has been captured by Looney Tune trans warriors. Yeah, the SNP are very pro LGBTQ and god jolly good. What's not good, Alec, is even if you didn't say that, you've been letting off enough fucking turf dog whistles throughout this fucking campaign, and the latest projections are, guess how many seats the Alba Party, which Alex Salmon is the self-appointed leader of, are going to win?
0?
Yeah. At most 2, right? So, depends.
I assume the exact words involved some slurs, which is why it was not said by other things. Those are not. He said not his exact words, so.
Yeah. All right. So, just to remind people, I have gone through this already on another show. Now, to explain to those outside the UK, so the Green Party in Scotland is separate to the Green Party of England and Wales. Okay, this is to do with the fact that the Green Party in Scotland supports Scottish independence, right?
Yeah.
But they basically they have the same policies, and they have, as I said, been very vocal in support of LGBTQ people. Now, the latest projections I've seen for the makeup of the new Scottish Parliament after tomorrow's elections is that the SNP will probably get a majority. That's something because, shall we say, the Scottish voting, the system of PR they have there is actually in place to ensure no party does actually get an absolute majority. And both the Tories and Labour will lose seats. We knew Labour were going to lose seats, and the Tories. And the main beneficiaries will be the Greens. They could double. One projection I saw, double the number of seats they have. Which would mean that there would be something like an 80-something seat majority. Now, the Scottish Parliament, right, is made up of 129 seats. Okay, so they basically, the pro-independence parties will have about 80-odd seats in that Scottish Parliament. Now, if that's not a mandate for pushing for a second Scottish independence referendum, I don't know what is. And I do support there being a second Scottish independence referendum, because the last one was held before Brexit. And Brexit changed the constitutional direction of this country, and thus changes the union between Scotland and England. Okay?
Yep.
And being as most Scots voted against Brexit, I do fully support a second independence referendum, and I do support Scottish independence. Now, obviously, that's London Hall, City Hall, London. Now, I think I've mentioned most things. I've been pretty good there. So my advice to everyone is vote Green. Don't vote at the Alba Party in Scotland. If you're LGBTQ, you're giving a voice to transphobes and possible homophobes as well. The two usually go together. Wales, as I said, if you can, vote Green. Otherwise, hold your nose and vote Labour. Won't be brilliant, but the problem with Plaid Cymru is they do have a more of a transphobic problem than the other parties, other than maybe UKIP, who are just a bunch of bigots. I actually have a trans friend who is a member of Plaid Cymru, and she has said, we've got an issue with a few assembly members. So Now, there is also one other, as well as the local elections, there is also a parliamentary by-election tomorrow in Hartlepool, and well, yep, the headline says it all.
Oh wow.
Now, let me explain something to people outside the UK. By-elections are when the seat of an MP is vacated for whatever reason. The reason here is that the Labour MP has been accused of various things, so he decided to step down. Well, he was kind of forced into it, but it was ultimately his decision, though. So there is a by-election for that parliamentary seat. The significance is that this could be only the second time. This could be the only third time. It's happened twice that the government in the party in government actually wins a seat of the opposition. Usually, whatever party, if for instance, the Tories are currently in government, if in the past when the Tories have been in government and there's been a by-election, either the Liberal Democrats and Labour have won it. So it's rare that that a party in government manages to hang on to its seat to seats in by-elections, let alone win it off the opposition. Hartlepool is should be one of Labour's safest seats, but Starmer has fucked up so much they're likely to lose it. Now, it's not entirely Starmer's fault. I'm going to say that. It's mostly his fault. But the Tories have been doing something rather naughty. Essentially, at the last election, the so-called Red Wall, which was, there was a bunch of Labour seats in the north of England. You could walk from Liverpool to Hull, and you would just walk through Labour constituency after Labour constituency. Now the Tories broke that and won seats there, and some of the seats around Hartlepool went to the Tories, and basically people in Hartlepool have seen that those seats have been getting funding in what the Tories called levelling up. Basically, the Tories have been making this big spew about investing in the north because a lot of people feel that the north has been left behind when it comes to investment in infrastructure and whatever else.
Yeah.
And so the seats that the Tories won have been getting investment, whereas the ones which north where Labour have hung on haven't been getting investment. Kind of dodgy, that, isn't it?
Yep.
And so people at Hartlepool think, well, if we vote Conservative, we'll get some extra investment, possibly. It's a bribe, to the electorate. If Starmer does not step down after, because it's not just Hartlepool. I mean, Labour are going to do badly in Scotland. They're going to, they will hang on to power in Wales, and obviously Sadiq will win in London. But with all the council elections, they're probably going to lose as well. He really does need to consider his position.
Yeah.
He needs to go. And I know some people say, well, what does this have to do
Out of the
with
cannon into the Sutton.
What does this have to do with anything LGBTQ? Well, having another fucking Tory MP to add to the majority the Tories already have isn't going to fucking help LGBTQ people, is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they don't even want to ban conversion therapy, with the.
Yeah.
I mean, they say they want to next year, and then next year comes around, and they're like, "Yeah, we'll do it next year."
Yeah. Anyways, other stories from here very quickly. Arlene Foster of the Ulster Bigoted Party isn't just stepping down as the leader of the Ulster Bigoted Party. She's actually going to quit the DUP completely. I think she's just had enough.
Will that make them less bigoted, or will they?
No,
find
she's just going to be
another
replaced.
equivalent?
She's going to be placed. She's just going to be replaced with another fucking bigot. Yeah, that's and the
Wait,
bigot.
why is she being forced out?
Oh, well, you covered this last week.
Oh
She-
shit! Did we?
it was-
I have a terrible memory for.
Well,
stuff
basically, when the Northern Irish Assembly voted to ban conversion therapy, and she actually abstained on that vote, that was considered by some in the DUP to be a bit too liberal. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And she there's also the main what's been really leading up to this is the Brexit deal means that there is actually a trade barrier between Northern Ireland and the mainland of the United Kingdom, right? And for the members of the Ulster bigoted party, this somehow disrupts their British identity.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to know, it's ironic, but the most flag-shagging part of the United Kingdom is Northern Ireland.
Okay, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. So, and I mean, the DUP, or the Ulster bigoted party, as I like to call it, are just a bunch of nutcase fundamentalist Christian bigots. But the good thing is, in about 10 to 15 years' time, the Protestant unionist community will be the minority in Northern Ireland because demographics are changing. The Catholics will become the majority. And so, funny that the DUP are being... And I think that one thing is happening is this is the start of unionism being in crisis because of that demographic. They know that demographic change is going to happen, and there will be a push for United Ireland. And funny enough, actually, do you know it's 40 years today since Bobby Sands died. Now I don't support IRA terrorism, but I will say this for Bobby Sands: he died for what he believed in, and how many of us can say we're willing to do that? Anyways, all right, now, just to remind people, Prince Philip is still dead.
Wait. What? Wait, why didn't we cover this?
And and it's nearly as funny to say that Donald Trump is still banned from Facebook. This came out today. Facebook's decision to ban Donald Trump has been upheld by the company's independent oversight board. The social media company banned the former president of the United States indefinitely in January after he said rioters who stormed the Capitol building in Washington were great patriots and described them as special. Yeah, we all remember that. The matter has subsequently been referred to Facebook's oversight board, an independent panel that is often referred to as the social media company's Supreme Court. The oversight board upheld Facebook's decision to remove Trump from the platform in a ruling on Wednesday. However, it is also said it was inappropriate to impose an indefinite suspension. Well, I don't think it's inappropriate. The guy was fucking inciting, praising political violence. I think, basically bigging up political violence is, bigging up an attempted coup. Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that they referred to this board as as Facebook Supreme Court sounds like Facebook is a state within a state, doesn't it? I mean, it has its own currency, doesn't it? It has its own courts. Mark Zuckerberg is El Presidente. Look, as far as I'm concerned, Facebook can do what the fuck they want, but I would imagine if you ask the majority of people, do they prefer Facebook being a Trump-free zone, they would probably say yes.
Yeah, probably.
When I say way too fucking much. I noticed this when I play back some of the videos, which is why I don't like playing them back. Anyways, to the story which was in the title. Yes, she's running for we reported that Caitlyn Jenner was running for California governor. And, who is surprised that she doesn't support trans athletes? Who's surprised at all? I mean, she's a fucking Republican. Yeah? Of course she's going to go take the Republican fucking line. I mean, if she was, had any fucking guts, she wouldn't. If she was the represent, what was it she said? I represent my community, the LGBTQ community. Well, if you did, you wouldn't you wouldn't be supporting transphobic policies.
Well, yeah.
I was about to say she so put it this way. The first policy position she announces after throwing a hat in the ring to run as for the governorship of California is a transphobic policy position.
Well, I mean, she's so out of touch with reality for most people that it's just
now
sad and pathetic.
Some people might say, and I can see where they're coming from here, but I don't agree, that she is slightly more qualified, maybe, than some other people who like Piers Morgan and who have voiced opinions on this, because she used to be an athlete herself. She was obviously decathlon Olympic gold medalist. And okay, but not okay, because it seems to me that Caitlyn Jenner knows fuck all.
Well, she's forgotten what it means to be an athlete.
Anyway, so she's saying that it's always trans women, isn't it? It's always trans women can't compete with cis women. You never hear them talking about trans men competing with cis men, do you?
Yeah, because they do. Because trans men almost got into the Olympics, so and I suppose they don't factor in the fact that no trans woman has even gotten close to the Olympics. So Caitlyn Jenner thinks that trans women should not compete in cis women's sports. Right, okay. Oh, this is a bit awkward. Yes. Yeah.
One rule for Caitlyn and another for the rest of us, huh? Is that it? Yeah. Yeah. It's all right for Caitlyn to compete against other cis women, but not for for the rest of for any other trans women to compete with cis women. No. Yeah.
Nah, the only trans women who are allowed to compete in anything are the ones who are rich enough.
Yeah. Fucking hypocrite.
Yep.
Anyways, she's put out the first ad for a campaign. And, yeah, we're going to watch it. But warning, this is fucking cringe.
I'm scared.
Famed Olympic gold medalist Caitlyn Jenner is now entering a new race for the governor of California.
I've always been a dreamer. California was once the envy of the world. We had what everyone else wanted. The American dream grew up here. Yet career politicians and their policies have destroyed that dream. It's been locked away, closed, shuttered, left in the dark, burned down. The government is now involved in every part of our lives. They've taken our money, our jobs, and our freedom. California needs...
Taking our freedom! Fuck hell.
Wait,
I don't
the
think-
government
but
has
there-
taken our jobs and our freedom? I'm pretty sure the government hasn't taken our jobs.
They always seem to trumpet this fucking Braveheart line, you know? You may take our lives, but you will not take our freedom! And can I just remind Americans, Braveheart the film bears no fucking relation to actual fucking historical...
Oh yeah,
Facts.
the
Check out
chick
his-
he's into was like 8 years old in the movie. The chick he's into the movie who he never met was like 8 years old at the time or some bullshit like that. And also like I don't think they wore kilts if I recall correctly in real life.
Actually,
during the time period.
I would urge people go and see History Buffs. It is a rant. It is an absolute rant about how historically inaccurate Braveheart is. Yeah.
I think the face paints as well. Like it's just like everything.
Yeah.
Everything was wrong. From the age of the characters, the events, to the outfits, to everything. Outside of the torture porn aspect, which was slightly accurate.
I'm going to admit, before I knew how historically inaccurate it was, the first time I ever watched it, I did cry. I did cry. You know?
Yeah.
Not knowing much about the history. You know, I was a lot younger. And
I mean, it's a well-made movie.
Yeah.
A disruptor.
It's just wrong.
A compassionate disruptor.
Compassionate, huh? Right. Well, let me think.
When's the last time she's been compassionate?
Yeah. We're going to get to a Blaire White video in a minute.
I don't know.
Yeah, because well, have a guess. She's all for Caitlyn running for the governor. Makes a change actually, because I was just thinking, has Blaire White ever said anything positive about any trans person in the past? And I couldn't remember, but she does actually say some positive things about Caitlyn. But that's only because Caitlyn's a fucking Republican. Anyways, compassion. Caitlyn, I watched that clip, from I Am Kate, where you had a go at trans people receiving fucking welfare, not realising that they couldn't get fucking jobs due to the prejudice against trans people, but you wouldn't know about that because you're insulated with money, because you earned a great deal due to male fucking privilege. And only transitioned, right, when it didn't really matter anymore. Now, I know some trans people are going to accuse me of transphobia for saying that, but the point I'm trying to make here is if she transitioned 20, 30 years ago, it would have, when she really wanted to, I think it would have made, a far bigger impact, a far more positive impact, right? But also, she doesn't have any fucking grasp on fucking reality.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I came here with a dream 48 years ago to be the greatest athlete in the world. Now I enter a different kind of race, arguably my most important one yet, to save California.
Oh, Caitlyn Jenner's going to save California. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course you are, Caitlyn. Yeah. You're going to single-handedly, save California. Me think not.
I want to carry the torch for the parents who had to balance work and their child's education, for business owners who were forced to shut down, for pastors who were not able to be with their congregation, for the family who lost their home.
Oh, God, she's taking the anti-lockdown.
Yeah, and also she point out a problem that would be solved by increasing minimum wage, but I'm sure she's against that. So
Yeah.
Home in a fire for an entire generation of students who lost a year of education. This past year has redefined our career
it was
politicians.
education through Zoom. They didn't lose a year of education. They got a year of education. It just wasn't inside the school.
It was called online learning.
As elitists. And the people of California.
Elitist! Elitist! Fuck me, Caitlyn, you're worth 100 million. Right?
Yeah.
When you transitioned, you didn't have to go and buy a new whole wardrobe. They gave it to you. Right? You know, you ride around in fucking chauffeur-driven cars. You fly first class, right? You basically eat the best fucking restaurants, right? You want for fucking nothing, right? And you know, and you take elitist fucking attitudes towards those on the lowest rung of fucking society. You know, your trans sisters, I'd remind you, included, and you say, you know, you're having a go at elitism.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, as the warriors, the kings, and the angels. We never take kindly to glass ceilings here. Instead, we shatter them.
This one's way out there.
We're the trailblazers, the innovators. California is facing big hurdles. Now, we need leaders who are unafraid to leap to new heights.
He does not want to finish second in this race. He wants the world record.
Who are unafraid to challenge and to change the status quo.
I want to prove that it is absolutely possible if we only do it together.
California, it's time to reopen our schools, reopen our businesses, reopen the Golden Gates. So I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, I'm running to be governor for all Californians. To reclaim our true identity, to bring back the gold to the Golden State.
What a tremendous victory.
Now is the time to achieve that summit, to be the shining city on the hill, and together we'll restore and renew the California dream.
Jenner is driving.
It's about what happens from here. It's not just about one person. It's about all of us.
Right, did you notice what there was an absence of?
Trans women.
Well, LGBT,
LGBTQ people.
Yeah, well, Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner.
Jenner.
Yeah, Caitlyn Jenner says that, the LGBTQ community are the community she speaks up for. Yet no fucking mention of them, in her campaign fucking literature. Nah.
Well, also, they love to far too many people who put up campaign like ads are like the heroes, the people who really help out in the world, and they show like nurses and firefighters and all this, and they're not like, we should pay them more. We should hire more firefighters. We should give nurses better jobs, so it's less stressful and they can help more people.
Just responding to HK in chat, the pay rise for nurses in the UK. Right, in Scotland it was 4%, which is above the rate of inflation. That was, that was the SNP who got to decide that. But south of the border, where it's the Tories, it was 1%. Now that is currently about 0.25 above inflation, but once the economy starts, reopening in a few weeks, inflation will go up, right? So basically, inflation will cancel out that 1% pay rise for NHS staff in England. Right. So I just thought I should check on the chat. Do tell us, everybody in chat, what you think about the Caitlyn. What you think thoughts on Caitlyn Jenner. Anyways, there has been a backlash to. I've forgotten to put it. Oh, hold on.
Don't worry. Just click on the next thing. Yeah.
No, that's fine. So there's been an outcry over menace Caitlyn Jenner's backwards views on trans athletes. She doesn't represent trans people. Well, I've always said that. She certainly doesn't speak for fucking me. So Mr. Sulu from Star Trek has branded Caitlyn Jenner a menace after she stated her opposition to trans athletes competing as their correct gender. Speaking to TMZ on Saturday, the former Olympian, who is currently fighting to become California's next governor, said she opposes biological boys who are trans competing in girls' sports in school.
Always.
It just isn't fair, and we have to protect girls' sports in our schools. Yeah, this is the Republican talking point.
I know it is. It's so cringe.
So,
It hurts.
So I never know how to pronounce his surname.
George Takei?
Takei, that's it. George Takei condemned Jenner for her comments on Twitter on Sunday. Caitlyn Jenner is no friend of the LGBT community. Don't call her an activist. No, she is a menace. The Star Trek icon wrote. Yeah, I totally agree with that. The keeping up with the Kardashians has been widely criticised by members of the LGBT plus community for her anti-trans comments.
Always fun.
Trans musician Plastic Marta hit out at Jenner for abusing her privilege and platform. Caitlyn Jenner opposes trans girls competing on female sports teams. Excuse me while the trans community take the knife out of her back, Marta wrote. That's a pretty strong statement, isn't it? This is why it's important to say no to Jenner. Oh, I didn't know there was that hashtag. Oh, I think I'm going to be using that. Hashtag say no to Jenner. Yep. That's going to get a lot of use in the next few months because she is a self-loathing, vapid fame whore. She is. I definitely agree about
that abuses her privilege and platform.
Yeah, I definitely agree about that she's a media whore. Countless others have criticised the reality television star for incendiary comments, with many questioning why she is falling on the side of Republican legislators. Because she's a Republican, and to run as a Republican, she needs to appeal to, Republicans, and we know that Republicans are anti-trans. She'll probably say that she won't be as anti-trans. I know that there will be people sort of say, well, she has to get the Republican vote to get into office, but once she's in office, she won't be as anti. Yeah. Look, we've already had one reality TV star be elected to an executive office in the United States. In fact, the executive office, that being the president. And how did that work out? Not so well. From playing sport, blah blah blah. So Caitlyn Jenner doesn't represent trans people. She doesn't.
I would also argue that she doesn't represent most athletes.
Yeah, Caitlyn Jenner doesn't represent trans people. She doesn't represent cis views on trans issues, considering 68% polled are against laws banning trans girls from sports. She represents no one but herself, power-hungry, ready to step on other trans people for political gain. I mean, I just agree with everything everyone is saying here. All right? But here's a tweet from Caitlyn Jenner. I didn't expect to get asked on Saturday morning, on my Saturday morning coffee run, but I am clear where I stand. It's an issue of fairness. We need to protect it's a hot topic issue. She didn't expect to get asked about it. It's a hot topic. Have you noticed how it? Jesus, she's not in touch, is she?
And also that line, it's always about protecting cis girls, not trans girls.
And yeah, look, do I think she's going to wind up as California governor? Well, I didn't think Donald Trump would end up in the White House, so, but I think it's, I do think it's not likely. All right,
Well, for one thing, Arnold Schwarzenegger did a much better job as governor than Caitlyn Jenner. So,
anyways, talking about Fox, talking about trans athletes. Interesting statistic here. Fox News has aired 126 segments on trans student athletes. They could only find 9 nationwide.
Yeah.
Fox News has spent the past.
They seem obsessed.
Yeah, past year.
Maybe they should get some help.
Yeah, Fox News have spent the past year warning viewers about the non-existent danger of trans student athletes. The channel has spent more time on the topic in just the first months of this year than it did in the past 2 years combined, with 126 segments on the topic since since 2019. The channel was only able to reference 9 athletes from around the nation, and more than a third of those segments were about 2 former high school students who haven't competed in years. None of the athletes dominate their sport. Yeah, it's scare tactics, right? It's pure scare tactics. And, you know, let us remember there have been, you know, the same bullshit they trot out about the scare tactics they trot out about trans people now. They trotted out about blacks. They trotted out about Jews. You know, it's just the same bigoted bullshit repackaged, okay? And before someone says, some tough goes, oh, racism is different from gender. It's bigotry's bigotry. It's just repackaged.
Yeah.
Now, talking of bigots. Yeah. Caitlyn, so, Blaire White. Here's her opinion on Caitlyn Jenner running for the governor of California. Now, I'm going to say one thing before we start. It is a rare thing that Blaire White ever says anything nice about trans people. And this is one of those rarities. The trouble is, she's saying nice things about Caitlyn Jenner because Caitlyn Jenner is not good news for trans people, and Blaire White's job is to shit on trans people, despite the fact she's trans herself.
Fine, she's pretty, so therefore.
Hey guys, welcome back to my main channel. So if you have not been on social media and or you live under a rock, you may have missed that Caitlyn Jenner is running for governor of California. She has launched her campaign.
Oh, hi, I'm Blaire White, and I'm a Valley Girl. Yeah, every time I play a Blaire White video, I want to play Frank Zappa's Valley Girl. She's a Valley Girl.
She's trying to do, like, she's trying to take the bimbo aesthetic because she knows most of her audience is just there to jack off her.
Well, yeah, I realised that, and the thing is, it's so excruciating because you want women to punch up, both cis and cis and trans women. Not to basically perpetuate stereotypes which don't actually help women. Right?
Yeah.
Anyways.
She is hoping to become the country's first transgender governor.
Yeah, can I just say, right, throughout this video, there's something going on underneath Blaire White's nose. And it's really fucking annoying. Do you see that, like, white, sort of lighter pale patch? It's annoying.
Yeah.
It's annoying. I don't know what the fuck's going on there. She's got a lighting wrong or a makeup wrong or something. Yeah.
Some may say transgender governor. Now, there is a lot to cover in this video, ranging from the absolutely delicious hot takes from both the left and the right, who are weighing in on Caitlyn wanting to become a governor, a Republican governor of California, my own personal experience with Caitlyn, and if I would or
Oh, she had to drop that in, didn't she? Okay, right. You want to do one-upmanship, Blair. I know one person who's met Caitlyn Jenner, and I know one person who actually knows her very well. Okay? So just because you had dinner with her, you seem to think that we should all think you're fucking special. No, you're not.
and vote for her. So let's get into it. So full disclosure, I'm going to say before we even jump in, I personally wanted Caitlyn in this video with me talking to me. I wanted to interview her. I wanted to get into it. I wanted to know what the hell is going on. And we are currently working on making that happen. So definitely leave in the comments below if you want to see me interview Caitlyn Jenner.
No.
I think that'd be epic. So Caitlyn has launched her Caitlyn for California campaign, seeking to knock out current California Governor Gavin Newsom from office. This is amidst the brewing recall effort to replace Gavin Newsom. He is a very hated figure in California, depending on who you ask. You either love him or you hate him. I personally hate him. And it's rare, but when a governor is...
Funny. But you hate all Democrats, Blair. I mean, that's what the Koch brothers pay you to do. Hate Democrats and hate trans people.
So shockingly bad at their job, so hated, and seen as so incompetent by enough people, they can be recalled. So a recall vote is allegedly supposed to happen, sparking Caitlyn to weigh in and want to take him out. Now, I just have to say, I love this story. I love that Caitlyn is running for governor. I love it because it's very much serving chaotic energy. And, you know, California is a wacky place. There is a precedent for celebrities running for office here. We had Arnold Schwarzenegger as governor at one point. So, yeah. And another reason why I absolutely love this story is that it has generated such an insane salt mine from both the left and the right. Caitlyn is running as a Republican, which is definitely an uphill battle in a blue state like California. And you know, whenever you see trans and Republican in the same sentence, people's heads are going to spin. Twitter, of course, has a lot of thoughts. Democrats won't vote for Caitlyn Jenner because she's a Republican. Republicans won't vote for her because she's transgender. She doesn't stand a chance. So this is a pretty common sentiment. I'm seeing people saying that that kind of cancels out both ends of support. But it'll be really interesting to see if it actually shakes out that way, because crazier things have happened, and there have been people that were counted out from the jump that ended up winning Trump. And honestly, I'm not seeing such a unanimous like hatred from the right toward Caitlyn. I think it's more of a mixed bag. You're definitely getting the hatred.
Go and ask your friend Lauren Witzke what she thinks. Yeah. There's plenty of hate from the right, but of course, yeah, this is the spin she's going to put on because, well, as I said, she sucks. Koch brother, cock.
And we'll get to that, but it's more of a mixed bag than I think some people might think. Some tweets, never in 1,000 years I think I'd be saying I agree with, or that I would be voting for Caitlyn Jenner. I truly hope you win. I'm finding more common ground with Jenner's politics than I ever thought possible. But of course, you have the people on the right who just cannot see past the trans part. So these are comments under an article just objectively reporting that Caitlyn's running for governor. Jenner is a boy and he has no male genitals, but he has the XY chromosome. That makes him a biological male.
Yeah, but hold on a second. Blair, you have said on numerous occasions that you're not a woman. You have. So why are you complaining about this?
I mean,
it's wrong.
What she's talking about.
It's wrong, but you're being a hypocrite. You've said you're not a woman.
Well,
you're not a real woman. You have said that.
Well, I mean,
Blair has said that on several occasions. So isn't she being a bit of a hypocrite here? Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's hear what she says afterwards, because she.
Wow, Jim Johnson, that's an amazing observation. We're so glad you passed science class. Any thoughts on her actually running for governor? Bruce Jenner remains a man with the same male chromosomes in every cell of his body that he was born with. No doctor or politician can change those chromosomes. Again, these type of comments are interesting because they're not actually talking about her running. Bud Spencer weighing...
Oh, hold on. I've just figured this out. Right. Caitlyn Jenner is a real woman, right, in Blaire White's mind, because she's a Republican. But if you're a liberal trans woman, then you're not a real woman.
Oh, I thought for a second you were gonna say a liberal woman, then you're not a real woman in Blaire White.
Well, that might be actually the case as well, but yeah, I wouldn't put anything past Blaire White.
In with the hot take, well, many Republicans are commies as well. It's a disease that spread beyond party lines. Now, this is hilarious to me because
actually that is funny.
It's so interesting how people will see the word transgender and equate it with something like communism. Now, don't get me wrong.
Yes, because they're anti-Semitic bigots who think transgenderism is part of the cultural Marxist conspiracy theory.
Well, yeah, but also because it relates to helping people be people, and they don't. Some people vibe more so with the attitude that we need to help the nation become strong.
Yeah. All right.
There are transgender communists. Caitlyn Jenner is not exactly the communist hero you might think she is just because she's trans. Watch this clip and tell me if this is a communist speaking.
I believe in little things like the Constitution and freedom, and, you know, I believe in minimal government. I believe in the people of this country to get us out of the trouble that we're in, more than I believe the government's going to fix this.
Now, what gets me is that so many on the right will tout that identity politics are wrong, identity politics are ruining the country, you should never vote based on identity politics and care more about policy, which I personally agree with. However, it's a bit hypocritical then to say that you're not voting for someone purely based on their identity, even if their policies and ideological positions line up with yours. Especially when you think about the fact that all throughout 2020 and now 2021, people have been complaining so much about Gavin Newsom, which I completely understand the complaints. He's done a lot of things that I heavily disagree with. He's really decimated the state in a lot of different ways, and that's a whole other video. But, you know, you have someone saying, hey, I want to reverse some of these awful things Gavin Newsom has done, you know, and y'all are like, no, because she's trans. So now on to the responses from the left, which are equally as ill. Caitlyn Jenner is living proof that you can be anti-LGBTQ while being LGBTQ. Now,
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I can't think of anyone who has done more charity work, donated more money, done more to help actual, like,
she's
trans
got
people
kids.
in poverty, trans people on the streets than Caitlyn Jenner. You may not.
You want?
I mean, oh, okay. So she does give to charity, but also she's rich as fuck. Every rich person gives to make
themselves look
charity.
Good. Yeah, especially when
and yes, she does give to trans charity.
We know this.
While fighting against.
Yeah, when there's a camera,
rights.
When there's a camera about, she does. Yeah.
Hear about it, but if you look for it, the information's out there. She's been on television paying for trans people to go through college.
Oh, a celebrity win.
Must be Matt.
For 19-year-old Matt Pasquera.
Thank you for coming. Pleasure meeting you.
So why doesn't she support the state doing this? Because that would be better. Yeah.
Well,
she helps
doesn't get more money.
She helps the odd trans person who worships the ground she treads on. You know, that's basically the deal, isn't it? Yeah, not actually give universal fucking support to trans people and other, you know, marginalized groups in California or fucking elsewhere.
So nice meeting you.
Meeting Caitlyn Jenner was a dream come true.
I want to give you a check for $25,000.
Oh my God. Thank you so much.
Caitlyn Jenner.
You're quite welcome.
She's pulled trans people off of the streets. She's like, when I met her personally, we'll get into the full story of like my interaction with her in a second, but she went on for hours about how much she was doing to help trans people off of the streets, to help trans people who are victims of violence. When I met her, she was flying out to the Pentagon the very next day to talk to them about how to help trans people. So you don't have to like or hate her. I'm not sitting here trying to white knight for Caitlyn Jenner, but what I am trying to say is she's not proof that you can be anti-LGBT while being LGBT. It's proof that y'all will call anyone anti-LGBT for the smallest amount of ideological difference from you. Has Caitlyn made mistakes?
It's not the smallest ideological difference. It's the fact that she didn't support same-sex marriage. It's the fact that, you know, she doesn't support... She thinks that it's okay for trans people to be excluded from fucking sports. Right?
Yeah,
in other
so
words,
it's not her.
Yeah.
Much like Blaire White has spoken in favor of anti-trans rulings before, and she doesn't think that she'll end up in a male prison because she's too pretty, so she's obviously not going to end up in a male prison. That's not how that works.
Oh, yeah. Talking of that, I covered it last Friday. The Biden administration have made it clear trans women ain't going to be sent to male prisons, okay?
Yeah.
At least at a federal level.
Yeah, but guess what? That's what humans do. So Fallon Fox, the transgender MMA fighter who stirred up a bunch of controversy when she cracked the skull of her female opponent within seconds of being in the ring.
Oh my god!
Weighed in on
saying, "Oh my god!" I fucking hate that because yes, the most common injury. It wasn't like cracking the entire goddamn skull. It was like I have suffered the injury listed when I was hit by a car, and no, I did not suffer a major skull injury. And it's not only the most common injury, plenty of women have done it too within seconds of being in the ring. It depends on the opponents. Like, it's MMA fighting. Things can get rough.
You are such a traitor, Caitlyn Jenner. Don't you know how testosterone blockers work? This was in response to Caitlyn saying that she does not support the inclusion of trans women in women's sports. And I think it's just so funny that Fallon Fox, of all people, waited.
Oh, by the way, the whole thing you're just saying about the fact that Fallon Fox cracked the skull of a female, cis female, that's dog whistling to turfs.
Oh yeah, no, it 100% is, because it's like, oh, a minor MMA fighter hurt cis women in an MMA fight with like one of the most common injuries ever, because they do punching people in the face is something that happens in the MMA. And Fallon Fox or whatever would be destroyed by like top tier women in the MMA. There's no way, like she was good, but she wasn't anything impressive. She just won some low tier fights well.
In when she literally cracked her opponent's skull within seconds, like I said. Clearly, Fallon Fox actually doesn't know how testosterone blockers work, because testosterone blockers do not reverse male development. They only prevent further male development. And considering Fallon Fox allegedly transitioned as an adult, you don't know how they work, Fallon. You don't.
Oh my
god. I think she does, actually, and I mean we all do. I've certainly, my muscle is certainly not what's it, muscle thingy tone, whatever it is. You know, I do not have the strength I had before I started on Eastertal.
I mean, the
thing is, what we do know is that Blaire White doesn't know what she's talking about when it comes to trans athletes. You know, drum roll, Janine Marie Kroc comes to mind. Remember that? Yeah, it wasn't so long ago, only a few months ago. Yeah, Blaire White got that completely fucking wrong. In fact, she just told a pack of fucking lies about her, and only pulled the fucking video when Janine Marie Kroc, you know, threatened her with legal action. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say didn't change much because I was really fucking weak, anyways, and and I made an effort to keep in shape. I'm probably weaker than I have. It's not like I've done calculations on this, but plenty of above a certain range, because cells get replaced, and cells get told how to replace based off of hormones. So yeah, you end up effectively weaker in the areas that are affected by hormones.
Now, here's the thing. You do not have to like Caitlyn Jenner. I'm not sitting here trying to say, vote for Caitlyn, vote for Caitlyn. What I am trying to say is that a lot of the criticism of her running is ridiculous. Caitlyn really has not come out and laid out all of the things she supports yet. She really has not laid out policy in the way that...
No, but she sounds like she's just concentrating on Republican talking points from a campaign ad. That was pretty obvious.
You would want someone to lay out before deciding if you should or shouldn't vote for them. Which is why all the people going crazy are simply either reacting to the transgender part or they're reacting to the Republican part, which makes you, if you're one of those people, a very simple-minded person. A very black and white.
No, the GOP are the party of evil. They have proven it time and time again. Okay?
I mean,
Caitlyn Jenner doesn't Caitlyn Jenner doesn't give a shit about the LGBTQ community. She, you know, the description of her being power hungry is absolutely right. That is why she is concentrating on Republican talking points. Okay.
Well, also, yeah, she hasn't given a lot of talking points, and they've all been bad.
Anyways,
so, and she hasn't supported a lot of LGBTQ rights in the past. So yeah, you do still have something to go on. Much like a lot of people are saying Trump was racist because of racist things that he said in the past, and then he got into the office and made racist policies and tried to put racist policies in action. Shock. Who would have thunk it?
White thinker, you're giving very much binary thinker, you're giving very much blind tribalism. I would vote for anyone whose policies lined up with what I thought were the best thing for the country. It doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, white, black, trans, none of that should matter. If you're like a normal, level-headed person, none of it should matter to you either. So on to my own personal experience with Caitlyn when I met her and went out to dinner with her. I did a full video on my second channel. So you can watch that to get the full picture. But to sum it up, I went out to dinner with Caitlyn Jenner, talked for hours about the Olympics, her being trans, politics, of course, all of that. And what I got out of my experience with Caitlyn was that she's a very authentic person. She's a very honest person. And she cares about...
I mean, like, she is an authentic person. She is a person who
all right, I was almost choking on my fucking drink there. Fucking hell. That's what I gotta say. That's what I gotta say. That Caitlyn Jenner's genuine. Fuck off.
A lot. And I really don't care what kind of narrative that goes against. I really don't care if it's unpopular to say that Caitlyn's a good person. This is based on my personal experience. Am I saying I know every detail of her life and intimate and I know her soul completely? No. But I do have a few hours more experience than most people. And I personally took away.
Oh, so you met Caitlyn Jenner for 2 hours and you suddenly know her inside fucking out, do you? Oh Jesus! Well, next you're going to be announced. You're going to be writing an autobiography a biography on Caitlyn Jenner for having spoken to her for 2 hours. You seem to think you know everything about her.
Well, I mean, this is one of the things that I'm not a fan of. Because, like, yes, if you sit down and have a conversation with most people, you can have a decent, agreeable conversation.
And also,
it doesn't fucking matter.
Just one other thing, right? Thinking about this, right? So she's bigging up Caitlyn Jenner. Where were you bigging up Rachel Levine? Oh, right. She's a Democrat. So A, she's not a real woman, and B, I guess you just want to shit on her because, well, she's a Democrat.
From it that she's a very good person, and I understand that obviously.
Well, I guess Blaire White's things, narcissistic egotists are good people because she's a narcissist and an egotist.
Obviously, most people do not have a personal experience to pull from when thinking or talking about Caitlyn. I get that, but there's mine. And take it for what it's worth. I will say that until she really lays out
it's
all
worth
of
about nothing.
Sorry?
She said take it for what it's worth, and I said it's worth about nothing.
Yeah.
Policy positions, and until she's more on record in long form, like really talking about what she wants to do for the state of California, I can't say for sure I would vote for her or for sure I would not vote for her. What I can say is I'm interested. And also, being under Gavin Newsom's governorship, I would literally vote for a triple amputee frog over Gavin Newsom. So she already has...
Hold on, I thought you moved to Texas, Blair. So if you've moved to Texas, how can you vote for the governor of California?
Well, unless she didn't move to Texas.
Was she trying to throw us off the scent? Anyways, now there's another Blaire White video. I have to admit, I only saw that when I went looking for this other video, which I've seen others respond to. So I thought I'd throw that in. Right. So this is the thumbnail for that video, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not the only person, right, who has noticed this. When Blaire White does thumbnails for videos, she always tries to make herself look like she is cis-normative, you know, that, you know, she's the good trans, not the freaky trans. And she always, like, pictures, like, the people she's going to shit on as the freakish ones. Right?
Yeah.
So, now, there's one claim in this video which is just fucking hilarious. So, she, being the true scum cunt she is going to shit on non-binary people. So, content warning, MB phobia here, and lots of it.
A fuck ton of it.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, welcome back to my...
Sorry?
Oh, I just said a fuck ton of non-binary phobia.
So, yeah. So, the rise of neo-pronouns, they, them, bunny, and bunny self, Z and Zer. Now, I've heard of Z and Zer, but I've not heard of bunny and bunny self.
I haven't either. I mean, I'm sure you could on some part of the internet, whether it be people trolling or whatnot. It doesn't really matter. I will say I'm not a fan of that one, but likely she tried to put the most ridiculous thing that she could find. But yeah, I've also never heard of that. Zer, I've heard.
Yeah.
YouTube channel, my pronouns are that bitch. That bitch pronoun merch on sale now. What are your pronouns, Bella? What are they? I think she just called me a man. Today we're diving into a trans topic that I have not touched upon. Surprising. We're talking about neo-pronouns today. Now, if you don't know what neo-pronouns are, I learned like 3 days ago, so don't feel bad. So
in other words, you know, fuck all.
Well, it's...
That's a good way of admitting, you know, fuck all. Yeah?
And also, like, I seriously doubt that she learned about it 3 days before neo-pronouns before this.
Yeah, probably more like 3 hours before she decided to do this video.
Well, no, she's probably seen it and hated it for a while, but it spent 3 days ago. She spent 3 whole days finding someone who uses bunny/bunny self, because it would take a lot of effort.
According to Miss Google, neo-pronouns are a category of new neo-pronouns that are increasingly used in place of she, he, or...
Blair, so you just Google shit into Google, and why don't you actually, I don't know, talk to a non-binary person? You know, maybe? Just a suggestion there. Rather than make shit up, as you're about to do.
Yeah.
They when referring to a person. So some examples that we have here are bug and bug self, it and itself. That one's a little degrading. Bun and bun self, when you're like a bunny, and tree self.
None of these I've fucking heard of. Where did you get this shit from? A TERF website? That's basically her and Rosa Dawn. You know, when they're shitting on like supposed predators who are trans, right? we often find out where they get their information from TERF websites.
Yeah.
More, but those are the most popular ones. So if you're thinking Blaire, that is absolute bullshit, and no one
Well,
actually
wait.
uses their pronouns.
Those are not the most popular ones. The most popular ones, when it comes to Neo's pronouns, are Zer. Zer is the most popular one. That's the one I see most of the time. I've seen it be used, and while I wouldn't, I like to respect people's opinions in terms of the use of pronouns. And I've seen maybe one or two others that I can't remember off the top of my head, but like definitely not half of what she mentioned when it comes to neopronouns.
I wish that were the truth. How much do you want to bet you're wrong? So actor Keenan Lonsdale, better known for his work on The Flash and Love, Simon, both shows that I have not watched, came out and identified his new pronouns that he wants everyone to use for him, which are tree and tree self. In an interview, he said, "I want people to call me Tree because we all come from trees. So it doesn't matter if you're a he or a she or a they or a them."
Okay, he's wrong there. We descend from monkeys, but whatever. What's the problem referring to them as tree or tree self? What's the problem with that?
Yeah, what's
if that's
the
what they
problem
want
with referring to tree that way?
Yeah, but where's the issue? Sorry, I'm finding it hard to see where the fucking issue here is.
Yeah, you just use pronouns.
At the end of the day, everyone's a tree. I want to call my friends Tree and me Tree and everyone Tree. So my first thought is that I want whatever tree he's smoking. That's not no regular tree, sis. You're on the good shit. My second thought is that this is highly narcissistic behavior.
That was my original alarm to wake up.
She's sitting in a room full of photos of herself and she's complaining that non-binary people are narcissistic. Well, Blaire, you give constant fucking classes on how to be a narcissist. Fucking hell. The cheek of this cunt.
Yeah.
Fuck hell.
And no one ever really brings up narcissism when it comes to people who want people to call them doll and doll self and use these crazy pronouns that really just don't align with how human beings speak about other human beings. Like, there is so much narcissism that goes into that. If you expect everyone around you to...
I mean, so there's narcissism in declaring how other people should call themselves.
Is it narcissistic to want you to be referred to as she and her? You know, that's a bit narcissistic, isn't it, Blaire? Oh, no, wait. That's because you have gender dysphoria, so that's okay. Well, non-binary people can also suffer from gender dysphoria, you know. But that's not the point. The point is, look, what's the problem? I still don't see what the problem is. It's narcissistic. Well, guess, people... But, as long as I've had interaction with the trans community, right, there have been non-binary people, okay?
Yeah.
This is nothing new. And, I've definitely been, involved with the trans community for the best part of 20 fucking years, which is almost as long as you've been alive, Blaire. So, it's nothing new. Right?
Well, also,
it gets more media attention these days. That's the difference, okay? And
also, people are different. Just in general, people are different and might want to refer to themselves in a different way than you.
Yeah,
so
is it narcissistic for me to want to be referred to as Ms? Is it narcissistic for me to want people to refer to me as Sophia? Sorry.
Was it narcissistic for Groot in Guardians of the Galaxy to just say "I am Groot" a bunch?
alter the language in which they use for human beings, not even just for genders, because I remember when I first came out as transgender, and my parents and my family and stuff, like they had, you know, it was a process to come around to using she all the time. Now they do, obviously, but in the beginning it takes some time to go from he to she. But to go from like normal human interactions and human language to be like, hey tree self, hey girl, that's ill. It's very much serving the same energy as like, pick out the red and yellow M&Ms for me, darling. Like, it's very that. And my next thought on that is we really need to, at some point, have a discussion for the expectation for me as a trans person. And not even just me. Let's talk about trans people in general. Everyone hates when I use me as an example, even though I am trans. So, like, it's like, why shouldn't I? The expectation for trans people
because you're not the only trans person.
Not only accept, but view and regurgitate this sort of thing as comparable to their own experience, right? Like the expectation for actual trans people to view identifying as a fucking tree as still falling under the trans umbrella and like we're still the same, like that's an insult.
She's doing, oh shit, hold on, accidentally muted it.
I've done that a ton before.
She's doing that. Oh, they're freaks, but I'm the good trans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, trans medicalist viewpoint. And also, she's using the example of some celebrity doing something that's atypical. But there isn't really a point there. It's not even like
boiled down to like the same thing as hi, I'm a tree. So something I've noticed upon researching neopronouns and who exactly uses them through TikTok, because where else, of course, would people use these pronouns but TikTok? It's almost overwhelmingly...
Hold on. Don't you have a TikTok account, Blair? Yeah? So she's now looking down her nose at people who use TikTok. Yeah. Probably has a TikTok account herself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exclusively like teenagers using them. Teenagers being like my pronoun.
Oh, here we go. Oh, they're teenagers. They don't know what's good for them. That
Yeah.
In 10 years they won't be rabbiting on about this bullshit. Yeah, I do recall some people saying that to me about being trans, and I'm sure there were people who said that to you, Blair, about being trans, because I know that you came out quite young. Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking that patronising fucking attitude. You fucking hypocrite.
Pronouns are vamp and vamp self because they want to be fucking vampires. We're talking young teenagers, like, you know, like James Charles Victim's age. So obviously I didn't want to put like minors on here and be like, what are you doing? Because you know what they're doing. It's like, it's the new emo. It really is. And frankly,
Transgenders. Dog whistling to turfs again, I hear. You know, I'm hearing Blair, you know.
But it's okay. This is such an important issue that she believes only young people are doing, and therefore this is a major thing that should be criticized and hated, and wouldn't want young kids to be themselves. No, that'd be terrible, right?
Yeah, that'd be anarchy. Yeah, fall of Western civilization.
Yeah.
Younger knows what I look like in high school. It's not that much of a motherfucking stretch to think I would have probably, if neopronouns were like a trend when I was in high school, used them. Although, I don't know, it was very anti-label back then. Remember when people were anti-labels?
Yeah, back then, Blair, you were a liberal from what I've heard. Yeah, what the fuck happened?
It's like collecting labels like they're fucking Pokemon. Like, I don't know. But there are definitely some adults who use them. Meet Bunny. Bunny?
Hi, my name is Bunny, and I use bun pronouns. Bun pronouns are a form of neopronoun. Outside of he and she pronouns, there's a whole world of neopronouns that can be used. In my case, mine are based off of bunny. So instead of she, her, hers, herself, it's bun, buns, bunself.
So the thing is, do not go and like send this person any hate. I'm gonna remove their @ so that doesn't happen.
You know, when Blaire White says that, what she really means is, you know, every time
do what you want.
Every time she has singled a person out in her video, you know, her fans go and dogpile hate on that person.
Yeah.
Because I think to anyone who can watch this TikTok, it's very clear this person is probably struggling with like some other issues, right? The only point to be made here is that not all issues need to...
Oh, right. Okay, so non-binary people have other issues. That sounds like gaslighting to me.
Yeah.
Be validated. At what point, when you're making people refer to you as a rabbit, do people who like love you be like, okay, listen, we know you're going through something, but you're not allowed to just put your issues on everyone else around you.
Well,
you can't just put
I mean,
whatever
that
Hold on. She's being a bit of a hypocrite there. First of all, she's saying that person's got other issues. Actually, you know, basically gaslighting that they have a mental health issue, right? And then she's complaining that they are putting their mental health issues on other people. But the thing is, if they're mentally ill, right, they probably don't realise that. So, you know, Blair, why don't you get them some help, huh? You know, why don't you do the charitable thing? You know, oh, you're the one who's being a fucking narcissist. You're not helping others. I mean, when the fuck have you ever helped the fucking trans community? All you do is sit there and shit on us. You true,
well, I mean,
you true scum cunt. Right, let's move on.
You're going through on strangers throughout the world to call you a bunny, and like, what? You're neglecting the issues that you need to really be dealing with, and replacing it with policing people and how they talk to you, and like micromanaging the way in which people speak all around you. If anyone ever asked me to refer to them as a bunny, I would just reply with, "Oh, baby, that's your problem. I gotta go. No, I don't."
Okay, what if transphobes, you know, like your friend Lauren Witzke, refuse to refer to you as she and her?
Oh, Blair will let it happen.
Well, actually, we saw her let it happen, didn't we? Yeah.
On more than one occasion.
Well, yeah, that I'm referring. You know what I'm referring to the TMZ conservative panel with LGBTQ issues, which Blair was on with this. Oh God. Well, with John Doyle, who's an out-and-out fascist, and Lauren Witzke, who is an out-and-out fascist. And Lauren Witzke basically said to Blaire White the best thing she could do is let a moustache grow out and stop telling people to live as trans. Well, actually, Blaire White doesn't tell people that, you know. In fact, you know, she puts people off transitioning even if they need to transition. And believe me, there are people out there who need to transition. Though, can I just point out, no trans person I know, right, pushes anyone else into transitioning. The general rule is that's a decision a person has to make for themselves. Okay?
Yeah.
I will certainly help any person who does come out as trans. Once I've done that, I will help them. Okay? But they have to make that step themselves. Okay? Anyways.
I don't have time to, dive into this particular endeavor with you, but I'm going to pray for you. I have, though, known one person in my life who goes by Z.
Hold on. So, you're going to pray for them. Are you going to try and pray the Grey away as well now? Are you going to go full Milo on us?
I mean,
is that going to be your new grift? By the way, I've got a Milo story to end with.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, no, I know.
Zer. And little story time. So there was this guy that I knew. He transitioned from a girl to a guy. This was in college. From a girl to a guy. Regretted it. Tried to transition back. Couldn't really reverse a lot of the stuff. And so eventually came to like a compromise where he was existing as like a Z-zer. Not like a he or a she, but like a Z or a zer, right? And I don't know. The way I am is like, I'm probably not going to try to talk to you if you have these types of pronouns, because I know I'm going to slip up, and like I'm not trying to like have a confrontation with someone because I'm not calling them Caesar or bunny and frog, like cantaloupe, watermelon, microphone, whatever. But we had mutual friends, so he came over to my townhouse in college for a party. I used to throw the most banger parties, oh my god. And within 5 minutes of being in my house, he had an absolute mental breakdown over the color blue. I'm not exaggerating. He said that he had a trigger for the color blue, and that if he saw it, it brought back like some sort of PTSD or just something crazy. And so he threw a huge panic attack and meltdown in the bathroom. And of course, everyone was like trying to tend to him and like, trying to get him to come out of the bathroom. And like, it was just a lot. Needless to say, Did not hang out with him again. That was a bit much for me. But I say that to say, like, one thing I learned from going to therapy, and because I did go to therapy after my sexual assault when I was younger to sort of cope with it, your triggers are not anyone else's responsibility. Like, truly. They're for you and you alone to work through, and it's unfair to put that responsibility on other people. It's the same way that when I transitioned and I wanted people to call me she, like, I did have to put in a certain amount of effort and work to do that. Like, I wasn't just gonna be presenting as male, screaming at my mom to call me she.
Not everybody is as capable as you, Blair. But of course,
I mean,
being a narcissist, you wouldn't understand that.
So, yes, generally putting stuff on other people isn't their responsibility. That said, there is an aspect of kindness that you can do, just if you're truly a friend of that person, you just do what you can to put her in a comfortable position.
Otherwise, like, I hate her. That defies common sense. It's unfair, and it's highly narcissistic. So that's what I think about when I think about people who really need everyone to speak a certain way around them and control the way everyone's talking. Like, that's gross. And honestly, the politicization of pronouns have really been one of the biggest downfalls for the trans community. The moment there started to be bills proposed that would, like, fine people for misgendering people in the workplace and enforcing pronoun usage, we saw Bill C-16 in Canada. Certain ones have happened here, but really not as severe.
Oh, right. Okay. So, it's basically, well, I've got passing privilege, so this doesn't affect me, right? But not everybody is as capable as you. Not everybody is capable to having passing privilege. Are they, Blair? Yeah? Again.
Yeah.
Being a narcissist, and not being able to see 2 inches in front of your fucking nose, you wouldn't fucking understand this. Okay?
Well,
we all do our best to try and pass, Blair, but as I say, not everybody is capable. I mean, for starters, I'm fucking disabled. I can't fucking help that, okay? Oh, sorry, I'm pushing my issues on everyone else. Hey, I'm not. I'm just trying to get through life. And if the government can make it fucking easier for me not to be, subjected to discrimination and persecution, then that's a fucking good thing as far as I'm concerned.
Also, she brought up the Bill C-16, which was like a nothing bill that was essentially a continuation on things that was lied about a bunch. It's put as like some big authoritarian bill, and it wasn't. It was just a slight broadening of laws that were already in place.
That was the biggest downfall, because anytime people feel like you're like going after them and trying to police the way they talk, they're going to get angry. And speaking of trauma, like, at some point we also have to talk about people who identify as trans due to trauma rather than because they have gender dysphoria or because they are actually trans. So recently, Courtney Stone came out as trans or as non-binary, as a they, them, and has made some headlines from that. If you don't know who Courtney Stodden is, she was a reality star and a media figure, and she rose to fame because she was 16 and married a 60-year-old man, and the relationship began before she was even 16. Her mother consented to marry her off to a 60-year-old man. Literal child bride in America. She came out on Instagram writing, "They, them, theirs. I don't identify as she or her. I've never felt like I fit in anywhere." She goes on to write, "I was bullied horribly in high school because I was different. The other girls never understood me. It got so bad that my mom pulled me out of school. And still, I don't fit in. I never really connected with anyone my age." And I'm sorry, but there's really nothing in there that's indicative of being trans. Like, the age thing, I don't even get. Like, are you also trans age? Like, I don't get it. I don't know, dude. It seems like a very...
Hold on. So, Blair, you're the arbiter of what is typical trans people, are you?
Well, not just that. Like, the fact that Blair... Can Blaire White not read? Because Blaire White read something, I didn't identify with children my age or whatever. That is speaking about the past, about being a kid. that's not like a complicated statement. I don't know why.
And actually, I would say, and
I
would say that way. I would say that's kind of that actually is more typical of trans people. I mean, I found it hard to sort of connect with people because I was always, because I knew I was trans and I knew it was going to come out at some point in some way,
Okay, HK made a good point about Blair, which is that she does not pass as human.
Yeah.
Misguided attempt at assessing some sort of trauma, because when you're a 16-year-old child bride and maybe you were bullied in school and stuff, like, I'd be willing to bet that she has a certain amount of trauma from that. I'm pretty sure she's talked about the trauma that all of that caused, like marrying off so young to an old man. And I see this a lot, people who like join the trans community and their reasoning behind it is to address some sort of trauma they experienced earlier in life. The problem is you're most likely not identifying the actual trauma and healing from it and moving on from it, but using trans as a scapegoat or as a band-aid, and it's not going to work. Also, it's really not missed on me that in recent...
Hold on, that's another turf dog whistle. I've heard that one from turfs as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a bullshit argument because you don't know what these people's lives are, and sometimes people can't explain their trauma well.
Yeah.
So if you're just going to kick out everyone, regardless of how they explain their trauma, you're being an asshole.
Years, it seems like a really cheap, easy way to get a lot of media attention for celebrities to come out as they, them, and non-binary and trans and all that. And of course, it's very...
Oh, of course, you don't seek attention, do you, Blair? Nah.
Well, also, like, yeah, she's talking about like a couple celebrities, and she's not. Blaire White hasn't really talked about like the average trans person, likely because it's easy to hate on celebrities.
Very convenient to come out as a they them because you don't have to actually commit to any sort of transition. Courtney Stodden, Sam Smith, the guy from Queer Eye whose name I can't remember, the one who looks like Jesus, the actor we talked about earlier with Tree and Tree Self, and literally just so many more I can't even think of. And I'm not saying every single one of them is disingenuine, but like, it's a little too convenient that it's just one after another after another after another, when you know that if this was 2014 or 2013 before this was even a trend, they would not be coming out. Like, half of a celebrity's job is just to follow trends anyways, and this just seems like another one.
Oh my
God. It's
God.
very frustrating.
So,
that's why I'm not as mad when it's like a kid doing it, okay? Like, I'm not gonna get into that. But when it comes to these adults, y'all are like slandering trans people by trying to say you're trans and also it's...
What? That's fucking outrageous.
Yeah.
That really is.
And it's using ableism to try to dismiss someone's actual feelings.
Fuck it. Anyways, one last story.
Yeah. Fuck you, Blair.
Yeah. So yeah, Milo throws a 150k engagement sodomy stone into the ocean to prove he's now ex-gay. The more he tries to convince us he's ex-gay, the more I know he's on a grift. I'm sure he'll make up the 150 grand. In donations from fundamentalist Christian whack jobs who are buying into the fact that he's ex-gay.
I'm not sure he's gotten a lot of money yet.
And I heard he's hooking up. I also heard somewhere else he's hooking up with the Westboro Baptists.
Oh yay!
Oh yeah, but it's the thing. So how's your husband? Oh, sorry, I meant your housemate. Is he polishing your knob? Oh, sorry, I meant doing a good job at polishing the furniture. Milo, the more you say you're ex-gay, the more we know that you are actually still gay, right? Okay. And there's nothing wrong with being gay, okay?
Yeah.
Right? I know some people might misunderstand me here, and they'll go, well, he's allowed to identify, however he wants. Sure. Yeah, but the thing is, he's not being honest with himself. That's the thing, and he's only doing this as a grift. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Now, there is a Paul Joseph Watson video I have been meaning to get to, but I'm going to delay it until Friday because I'm tired and she needs to go and do another stream. Sorry, mate.
Yep.
Ozma. So, anyways, one last look at the chat. Thank you for everyone who's contributed. Much appreciated. She does not pass as human. Great, HK, yep. She really doesn't know what's going on in that lady's head. Exactly. The triple whammy of Jenner, White and Milo has just reminded me to put the dustbin. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. HK. Okay. Yeah, that's funny. That is good. Yeah. Well, thank you for everybody who contributes and everyone who's been watching. It is much appreciated. Okay, so
as well as subscriptions.
Yeah, well, I will be back on Friday, and she will if there's no D&D. Well, in the meantime, if you like this video, give it a like. That helps us with the YouTube algorithm. If you get any feedback, then leave a comment below, and don't hesitate to give us a comment. So long as you're not being abusive towards either one of us for being trans, I'll let it.
Yeah.
I will permit it. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll have a problem and fight you if you are an asshole to Sophia for being disabled. So.
Yeah. Please do share this video if you like what we're saying. And most important of all, please subscribe, and thank you to all the new subscribers. Up to 225 now. I'd like to get to 250 by the end of the month.
And then you'll be a quarter of the way there.
Yeah. So please do subscribe and tell your friends to sub as well. Okay, until Friday, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and peace out.
Bye.